Hi, everybody. I'm Glenn Kennedy. Welcome back to Bar Talk. This is my co-host over here, Charles Motz. How you doing this morning, Charles?
Glad to be here today. Beautiful day outside, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
California day.
Well, today our guest is board member, Brother Love, Mr. Michael Flowers. How you
Glad to
doing
be
this
here.
morning, Mike?
I'm grateful to be here. I'm thankful to be here to sit beside two great citizens of the city of West Covina.
Well, thank you. We're
Thank
glad
you.
to have you here too.
So today we'd like to talk about the school board and the school district and how it came to be. And the school district, the school started what? It started in 1909. It was called Irwindale School. And then a couple years later, Mr. Maxon, who was our first mayor and first superintendent of the school district, donated the property next door at his home, and they started Sunset School. Charles, what year was that?
That was the first one was 1909. That was the bungalow out back, you might say.
So
along
the school, the original school sat in the back, and they built a new school in front of it.
That's right, 1911, the Sunset
Okay.
School they called it. I think it was 3 rooms at that time.
And how many students did they have?
Oh, let's see. They probably had no more than 75 at that, or 50. And they took in a pretty good area because we had migrant workers coming through picking the the field and
Okay.
things, so that it went up and down, basically, pretty much so in population. But Mr. Maxon and the board members felt that if West Covina did not have a school, that they probably would not have been educated as well as they would, because Covina was not really into West Covina. We were quite a ways away at that time.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. And the first board members were Mr. Maxon and Seymour Watts. Seymour Watts was he became mayor after Mr. Maxon had passed away. Also, Charles, which your grandmother was on that board
yes, that's correct.
for a long time, 10, 15 years.
Wow.
What an accomplishment at that time for that. She was the first woman on the school board.
That's correct, yes. And she also was an alternate for the state of California,
What was her name, Charles?
Cora Waldrop.
Okay.
Yes, and yeah, you're right. Women did not go on different boards and things in those days. But education was so important to them, because, and I think if Mr. Maxon hadn't started it, I don't know if all the students or young people would have been educated in West Covina, because they needed to work on the farms too, so they could just walk across the street or go down the street and go to school. And they made darn sure those kids were in school. And Mr. Maxon and them made a policy that the migrant workers came here, their children had to go to school. They could not work in the fields until after school. So they were educated also. So do you want to talk about the bankruptcy a little bit yet?
Well, I got to give a few people their props.
Okay.
I know that the school gradually it went got more and more people. I'd like to give Cloris Renicky. Her father was a superintendent here during World War II.
Wow.
And then after that, Mr. Thyberg came in. And I need to give Mr. Thyberg his props, because he's the one, he was the architect behind this school district 100%, because they went from 800 students to 4,000 or 5,000 students within a 3-year period, and we didn't have any schools.
Well, let me just interject one thing. We named our West Covina baseball field after Thyberg. It's called Thyberg Field now.
The football
The
field.
football field.
Yes.
Yes. And he was a Whittier graduate, and he came here, and he built every school in West Covina and the 2 high schools out of 2 houses. One was the house for the district office, and the other one was for storing things. Isn't that something?
Wow.
And one secretary.
So when the boom happened in the mid '50s, West Covina went from a small farming town to a metropolitan overnight. It went from 5,000 or 60,000, and also we had all these kids. And there was no schools built. There were just a few schools, and I know they use alternate places. I know all the churches made makeshift classrooms. I know the Japanese clubhouse was a school for a couple years. And why don't you elaborate on that, Charles?
Yeah, it was during the war they closed it, and it was a beautiful building. It was 3 rooms, good size, but didn't have any utilities and had outside privilege along the wharf,
Oh
you
my
know.
gosh.
But the rooms were very nice, and so they brought lights in. Lights could have been there, but they had to bring in natural gas, and they improved the bathroom facilities quite a bit. And it was open about 5 years until they built onto Sunset School and got the students back there, and then it was torn down. It was right there along West Covina Parkway where that tire shop was.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's where it was, and yeah, it was, and there was just wash and bamboo back there. I mean, there was no streets. There was no the privies were right on the bamboo field, you might
Wow.
say, right along the ward. So that was quite a place when you look back.
It's amazing how far the schools have come.
Yes, it is.
So Mr. Thyberg was the architect of building all the schools in the mid '50s. So we go a few years and we get to the '80s and school goes belly up. Tell us about that, Charles. The bankruptcy.
Yeah, the bankruptcy was a terrible thing. The schools went along pretty good, and what happened was over there, right across from Edgewood, West Covina, there was an open field, and the lady who owned that wanted to build those townhouses that are in there now, and the people got a little bit upset about it. They wanted a shopping center in there. So, you know, as things go along, it gets more upset and everything. So Mr. Hurst here, the Barn Boys, took the board members from the school district and all the administrators, and from the city and the board members, and they met at South Hills at 11 o'clock for lunch. Well, everybody shows up for a free lunch.
Yes.
And they had decided on that maybe it would be a shopping center in there, but there was just too much conflict there. So in the meantime, the conflict got worse and worse, and the lady who owned the property backed out, but they recalled and replaced 3 city school board members and 3 city councils over
Wow.
it. Wow. So
They all lost their job over it.
yeah, and Dr. Thyberg lost his job over it. And they hired a Dr. Todd from Cupertino outside of San Francisco. And they also brought over Jimmy Duncan, who was a music teacher at Willowwood. And we all kind of went along for a year or so, and we woke up and West Covina was bankrupt.
Wow.
That's about as quick as it came. And they started combining schools, and it was pretty bad. I mean, you can imagine bringing 3 junior highs and all the 6th graders to Edgewood and moving all the Edgewood students over to West Covina. The schools were just too large, and they started through superintendents, and they didn't last long. And finally, the state of California came in and took the school district over and brought a manager in, a business manager, and they started hiring different superintendents, and each one did some good. But you can only do so much good, and then you build up a little hostility, so you had to move on, And the district didn't do too bad. The 2 high schools were kind of in limbo for accreditation.
Okay.
The elementary schools stayed together real good. The teachers and the principals held them together. And Coronado, the attenuation school, got a 6-year accreditation with a 6-year review. So they got 12 views, so they did pretty good too. One of the tops in the state. And then, I think then, Mr. Flowers, your group kind of took over at that time.
And I wanted to, about 10 years later, they struggled. And then the new board came in, and you got to give the board props because
Yes.
they went from nothing and they built it up to what it is today. You had people like the late Mike Spence, Steve Cox, Cammie Pullhouse, Jessica Shoemaker, Forrest Wilkins. I know I'm missing a couple, but
George, what is it?
George Fuller,
George Fuller.
and you guys came in and you were fiscally responsible. And then now we're at today. And then Mr. Flowers, you sit on the school board. And I want you to tell us all about it.
Well, I want to give my props out to the old board members also. You just named them. We wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for the old board member that's on the board. Now, before I say anything, I'd like to give a shout out to my superintendent, Dr. Amy Flores, and her staff, and my board members, and Juanita Cruz, Joe Magdalena, Dr. Rose Lopez, Eileen Miranda Jimenez. I'd like to thank them for sharing the dream that we have for the past board members and the future board members. For myself, I've been on the board for 10 years.
That long?
Yes.
It's been that long? Wow.
And before I say anything else, it's March, so April gonna be Autism Awareness Month. So I want to put that out. So a lot of things are going through right now. But I'm so proud to be a part of the West Covina Board of Education. Last year we had over 99% of our students graduated from high school. That's an amazing
That's
accomplishment.
unbelievable.
That's
That really is
amazing
unbelievable.
accomplishment.
That's unbelievable.
I talked to someone, she said we missed out on 5. So this year coming up, we're going to concentrate whatever those 5 other guys did, whatever they 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 need, we're going to make sure they get everything they can to achieve so they can go through this graduate week. If it's extra tutoring, extra after school hours, whatever we need to do. We want 100% graduation rate. Also, West Covina is one of the best school districts around.
Yes, it is.
It's top
We
3%.
had top 3, yes.
Top 3% in the state.
We are one of
From
the best school
bankruptcy
districts.
to the top 3%
Yes,
in the
that's right.
state.
As of
Wow,
now, we have
that's amazing.
we have one of the best financial. We are one of the best financial districts around. You will not find a better school district financially than West Covina Unified School District. So I want to give a shout out to the citizens of West Covina also. They gave us their Measure H month. They allowed us to start building Performing Arts Center. We built the pool right here at Edgewood, a Holland Crest gym. But yet you see we're just progressing and progressing and progressing. Right now we have over 8,000, little less than 8,000 students in our district, and we have 13 schools. And if you include San Jose Edison, that's not a part of us, but we get percentage of ADA. So we got 13 schools, 4 high schools. We got the continuation school, Coronado. We have the AP at West Covina High School. We got the International Baccalaureate program at Edgewood. Then we got Mount Sinai Early College Academy, where the kids can graduate with an AA degree. And so our schools are just thriving. So we offer so many new things for the students. We just opened up a culinary part of our school. The performing arts is getting ready. Hopefully the performing arts center will be done this year. We thought it may be done last year, so hopefully it'll be done this year so we can start using it to see our choirs and our band performing right there, so we can invite the citizens of our West Covina to come in and be a part of see what great things that West Covina is doing. Also, we talked about last week we went on, last 2 weeks we went on a school tours. So I'm going to say this now. When the superintendent put out a school tours, I want to invite the whole city of West Covina. Come out. And we start off with breakfast. We get on the Greyhound bus. We go visit different schools in our district. We want the citizens of West Covina to see how great and how wonderful our schools are doing right here in the city of West Covina. Mm-hmm. We have 25% of our students come from outside the district. That shows you how great we're doing. That's why they stopped free district transfer, because so many, for me speaking, so many of those students from outside the district want to come and be a part of West Covina. You still can, but it's a little bit more effort. But for us to have 25% of our students outside the district, and we offer love. We have Mandarin and we have dual language, and we got Mandarin and dual immersion and Spanish. We offer speech and debate. It's our second year of speech and debate. And so last year, the second year, one of our guys won national championship in speech and debate. Second year, 7th grade, he competed against up to 12th grade students. So he won national championship. So right now, today, we got about 13 kids going to nationals to compete. So we are doing great and mighty things in the city of West Covina. Hey, do you guys Glenn, do you guys have any questions? Do you like to me about the schools?
Well, I'm very proud.
I'm very proud too.
Because this school district has more money than all the local school districts combined.
Well,
So that should say somehow fiscal responsible you really
I would
are.
say right now we have about 50 million in reserve.
Isn't that incredible?
So
More money than the city.
Yeah. Well, we at one time during the bankruptcy, they were trying to get up to 75% graduation.
wow.
See, they were below that. And, Mr. Cyber, Dr. Cyber, that was the field you mentioned.
Mhm.
He was a wonderful superintendent.
So
And he just was, and he was such a good superintendent. The federal government picked him up and moved him to Germany to get the school systems there for the military straightened out. And so they knew a good
well, so Charles, I have a
superintendent.
question for you since you're back there. What do you think about when I say graduate? West Covina school districts have a 99% graduation, over 99%. What do you think when you say that?
Well, I'm thinking the students that were in school graduate at freshman would 99% completed the 4 years.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I
Yes.
figured.
So you used to told me back in the day earlier it was a 50% back in the day. That was something.
Yeah, during the bankruptcy, they were trying to get 50% or 75% to do who entered the West Covina School District, at least 75%, but they were down to almost just a 50% would never complete. Isn't that awful?
Isn't that awful?
The students really suffered during that bankruptcy, but I think the teachers held the schools together, especially the high schools and the elementaries, and kept them going so you people could pick it up.
Yes.
Do a wonderful job. You really did,
And also, we got one school that Del Norte that the school is in the process of selling that property. But also, people asking me, what's going to go with the baseball field? What's happening with the baseball field? So if we take the baseball field, we're gonna start move the baseball fields to Monte Vista High School, to Monte Vista Elementary School. So those kids who playing baseball, softball, still will be able to use those fields. And there's probably more parking on that side at our schools also. So we're not leaving that baseball organization in bad shape. We're gonna make those fields even more grander than they are now. The one we are going to take, they'll be on a greater scale. So you can hold the district up to that. We're gonna make our city proud of what West Covina Unified School District is doing and what they have done in the past. We're gonna take it to higher heights and deeper depths. We are the West Covina best school district. In other words, we are the best Covina school district around.
I have a couple things I'd like to say.
Yes, sir.
The sale of Del Norte School. I went to Del Norte, just so you know. It's bittersweet for me.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. That money doesn't go in a general fund. It goes into
That's true.
another fund only to be used for facility maintenance.
Yeah, maintenance,
It doesn't go
facilities
for
updates.
salaries or any other thing. It goes right back into the school district.
Yes.
And it stays there. Also, as we're sitting here in the barn, we're all barn boys here.
Yes.
Some of our past members, like Vern Mottinger, who was a school board member and the mayor of West Covina, and Dale Pillinger, also a school board member and a council member. Russ Nichols was also a school board member and the mayor of West Covina.
I think Clifford.
And Dick Jennings was also a school board member and the mayor of West Covina. They were all barn boys.
Yes.
So I just wanted to give them props.
Yeah, we have a few in the barn boys also that are teachers also.
Yeah.
I even think that Bob Kirk's wife was a teacher, some Miss
Yeah,
Maxim.
his wife.
And
And
I think-
Charles was a teacher.
Yeah. Most of the Maxons were all teachers.
They all teachers.
We built they built
Yeah,
the
they
school
built this
too.
school.
Yeah, give back to them.
So with that, I'd like to say thank you. And thank you, Mr. Flowers, for coming down.
Well-
it's great to see you.
Look, in closing, like I said, if you have students that's out there that's involved in other districts, bring them to West Covina.
Sure.
You're guaranteed to get the best education ever in the city of West Covina. And I'd like to thank Dr. Emmy Flores and her staff for putting this all together, making our district even better than what it was. It started when I got over Dr. Charles Hinman, but then Dr. Flores have taken it over and taken it to higher heights. So thank my board, the superintendent and her staff, and thank you guys for listening in on us.
Thank you very
West
much.
Covina
And
Thank you for coming.
have a nice day, and I'll see you next time.
And Easter coming, so happy Resurrection Day.
Thank you.